just questioning the steps in the process and deciding which one to optimize feels flawed. Do you know how to harness the capabilities of these tools to get great outcomes? Like you're AI native for noon today, but by the time we all go home, you're gonna be behind the pack. So clearly efficiency matters.
You're listening to We Built What, the podcast for engineering leaders building in the agentic era. I'm Emma Webb, your host from Augment Code, and today I'm here with Rob Zuber, CTO of CircleCI. What are we going to talk about, Rob?
All things agentic, apparently.
All things
Emma.
agentic, apparently.
Yeah.
Rob and I go way back. We used to work together at CircleCI, so we have a lot of things to talk about.
And before that.
And before that.
Long before the agentic era.
Long before. That was like the SaaS e-com era. Yeah. That was the Facebook feed era.
As it transitioned into the everything is mobile first era.
That's true. That was the mobile first era that we lived through. I have so many questions. Obviously, I can't even decide what my question word is, but how has your role at CircleCI changed with AI?
Oh, wow. That is a really good question. So, I've been at CircleCI 11 and a half, coming up to 12 years, which is a pretty long time. And so I've done a lot of things in that time. My role has changed, evolved, as you would expect in an organization from, starting at 14 people when I got there, sort of thing, growing up to a much larger organization. But the rate of change now is much more significant. I mean, it's true of everything, but absolutely in sort of role. And one of the things that I think about a lot is engineering leaders live off their expertise, right? You're able to communicate with folks in your organization about how to do things, what's going to matter, what's important. You can coach them through things because you've done the job, the way they do the job, because you have experience using all the tools that they use. You can see where this is going. And all of a sudden, I have no expertise, right? I'm like, I heard online that AI is cool. You should use some of that, right? Like, I don't know how to use any of the tools. I don't know how to, I understand the fundamentals of software, right? I've been doing it for a long time through many of these, even before mobile first, go back far enough. And I'm, managing memory and racking boxes in data centers, whatever. But none of that is relevant for the most part. Mm-hmm. And I have this big gap in my expertise. So as a leader, having to learn alongside a lot of the members of my organization how these things work has, for me, in the way that I think and the way that I operate, has led me back into a very hands-on approach, because I don't have that expertise to lean on. So and that's been super exciting and fun, and I've been building and whatever, and I'll get a little into that in 1 second. But the ability, again, to know what people need, to help them navigate, to help them understand what matters and what doesn't matter. Or, I see that you weren't able to achieve this. Let me coach you through how you could maybe get a better result when I've never gotten a good result. That's impossible, right? So I think there's an interesting credibility, expertise sort of gap that was instantly created for all leaders. And my approach was to just get hands-on and try some things. One of the other things that I often think about in technology leaders, I mean, this is true of any executive, right? People get into those roles for different reasons, and they bring different strengths to the table. I am just someone who loves technology, super passionate about it, always have side projects and whatever going on. Not everyone is like that. And so if that's not what you brought to the table, then it might not be as impactful. Not everyone is scrambling to be really hands-on and detailed. But I do think, and you hear this common rhetoric and thread out there, it's been fun for a lot of people. And I think there's you slowly move away. One of the classic failure modes of engineering managers, right, as people switch from IC into manager and grow, is they struggle to let go, right? Their comfort zone is building things, but they lack the skills to manage. And so then you grow in your career and you let a lot of that stuff go. And then you think, I really wish I had this tool to solve this problem for myself. But it's been 10 years since I built anything, and kids these days are building stuff in all these frameworks that I've never heard of, and what even is TypeScript, and right, exactly. And so the activation energy is so high to go do something that it compounds. You're like, hey, person on my team, do you think you could build this thing for me? Because I really need it, but I just don't even know how.
This
yeah.
thing.
Right. But now I type that into a chat box
Mm-hmm.
and the thing gets built, right? And if you have like, what would I say, like atrophy of, or it's not really atrophy because the framework's moved on or whatever, but you don't have currency, as in current
Yeah.
knowledge, in
Mhm.
like a set of frameworks or tools and how you would build something today. But you have fundamental skills, right? I haven't lost the understanding of how software works. And so I think there's a lot of positive energy amongst my friends and
Mhm.
colleagues as leaders in just like, yeah, solving the small problems that were always just nagging at us. Maybe like not a lot of people are pulling tickets off the backlog and
Mhm.
I mean, at this point, you're just going to be a distraction to everybody,
Sure.
right? I mean, but I think just that like there's a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm, and then there's a lot of change management,
Yeah.
right? People are nervous about
Everyone's
what this
favorite
means for
activity is change
their job.
management.
Yeah, well, it's right. Speaking of transitioning from IC to manager,
Buckle up,
right?
guys.
Yeah,
Here we
exactly.
go.
And it's a hard time because there's such a spectrum of, whether you're talking about across organizations or even within an organization, of sort of enthusiasm and adoption. And, you know, on the one end, you've got people who are so excited that they sound fanatical. And on the other end, people who are so skeptical, right? And that spread is really big. And that's a big part of the job for engineering leaders right now, is helping
Yeah.
people see the potential, helping them understand it. And the context is different in every organization, but helping them understand in our organization is how we think about using AI to build software. This is how we think about the role of software engineers. This is the exciting thing that we're trying to achieve. And bringing people along with that's a lot of the work, right?
It's a lot of the work. That's funny too. I mean, at Augment, we are an AI company. We build AI tools for software engineers, and yet we have a OKR, a company goal about being AI native. And largely that's because the kind of goal line of what best and best in class looks like continues to move. And so if you are really comfortable sitting in your IDE and you're doing kind of AI code completion, and we're like, that's great, guys, but like you really need to be over here. And
Yeah.
so just even the thought that there's no such thing as done, there's no such thing as like, you did it, you're AI native now. Like
Yeah.
we're not in a settled or steady state
Yeah.
of the industry. And so just kind of even having that practice of like, because every model release unlocks new capabilities, we have to continually push how we do everything as well.
Tuesday versus Wednesday, something really like big happened, you
Yeah.
know, and that feels like every day someone has pushed something, has made an like discovered something, made an innovation. And to say, oh yeah, to your point, oh, now I'm AI native. Like you're AI native for noon today. But by the time we all go home, you're going to be behind the pack.
I think the thing that's difficult about it too is that the kind of vernacular we use around AI in some sense is so bombastic in many ways. And even for a software engineering audience where you've kind of been trained or you're like, yeah, we're going to use very pragmatic, very, substantiated language. We're really not going to try to put any hype into anything. And then all of the AI discourse is like, this new thing is gonna change the way you build forever. And it's like, is that a feature or a bug? For me, it's a bit of a bug, but I don't know how do you sift through it?
Yeah. I'm laughing because this is not exactly an answer yet. I'll get there in a second, but I recently I built like a little writing project. In addition to all of my coding projects, I have a writing project that has samples of my writing style, et cetera, so that I can get that part of my job done as well. And I was writing an internal sort of strategy document for a small project, but it was helpful and it was super fast. And the process of saying, having a kind of being interviewed by Claude to get my thinking straight was really helpful. And then I looked at the document that it produced and I was like, this is extremely melodramatic, right? Like this is way more, this is going to change the world, like exactly what you're describing. And I was like, maybe that's why all of the terminology around these things is so
That's
amped up,
interesting.
because people are writing their press releases with, their local LLM kind of thing. And and I apologetically sent it out anyway. Like, look, this has the content we need. it's not worth my time to make it sound less.
Oh my gosh, it's like the new version of the Mark Twain quote, like didn't have time to write a short letter.
Yeah,
That's like
exactly.
the AI version is like
Yeah.
didn't have time to make it less AI pill. Okay, so I have a question for you, Zub, and the question is the death of CI greatly exaggerated in the AI era? Why am I seeing these headlines that are like, we don't need CI anymore because of AI? Have you seen these too? I mean, it's
I
like
actually see
definitely like,
more headlines that are like CI is everything
tell me.
now.
Okay, so there's like there's
Yeah.
this dichotomy
Well,
of feeling.
yeah. So I think that the value of feedback
Mm-hmm.
and validation is higher than ever, meaning we feel really good about what we can create with agents, with AI in whatever form, but we still want the confidence that we can put that out in production, and more so because we're trying to get all of the slow steps out of there, right? Human review by PRs. Now we have PRs that have agents that created them and agents that are reviewing them. Like, what's the point of the PR, right? It's very much designed for humans. So we want to get all of those steps out of there to create a much faster flow through the whole system. But at the point that you've taken all of these human checks out, and let's be honest about humans, like on a good day or a bad day, you're getting different results, right? Like it's not consistent and reliable
What
and
time of day did
deterministic.
they review? About
Right.
what else is going
Yeah.
on?
Did they just get a distracting text while they were reading this and they're like, I gotta go, but I said I would do it today, so yes, this is approved. Like,
Looks good to me.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think it's forcing us down a path that we probably could have gone down earlier, but it's much more apparent because of the speed that we're moving, which is that at the end of all of that, I want to have really good checks, right? And bigger than we ran the tests, right? We ran the tests, we validated, or we checked in some form that the code is as good as or better than before we started this. And for some definition of good, which is to me, super interesting exploration, like what is going to allow the LLM to make the next change with the same or even less difficulty than it made this change, right? So we all know about compounding technical debt and all these kinds of problems that we've had in the past. And people believe right now that, that LLM is just going to create junk and more debt and whatever. But you can tune it, and you can tune it with feedback, right? And the feedback is going to come from that downstream review, which we're actually, what we're doing is pushing that further and further up closer to the agent. So basically at build time, you're getting constant feedback saying, this isn't as good, this isn't as good. Okay, there's this problem, which means I can basically take my hands off the wheel from an agent perspective and know that by the time it's done, this thing's going to pass CI.
Yeah.
Right. But would I just build all that and launch it into production? Like, that's not how I think the world's going to operate. I think the shape of CI is very different. Again, it's like small pieces much earlier. But I think the willingness to sort of, take your hands off the wheel earlier is coming from the knowledge and confidence that nothing's going to get through that isn't rock solid. We use a lot of Claude. I mean, we use a bunch of different tools, but I'll use Claude Code as the example. So we hook into Claude Code. I was talking about the feedback in the process, basically stop hooks, which as soon as, the cycle has ended, before the agent is saying back to me, okay, I'm done, it's running most of the tooling that it would run in a CI run, some of it locally, some of it in a sandbox environment, basically that we've created that acts like CI, but does a much smaller piece of that, right? We know what changes have occurred and therefore what we have to actually test for. So it's not like CI is a 10-minute, 15-minute run, but I'm getting that done in 30 seconds and saying, oh, now this broke, so that the agent just doesn't even stop, just finishing.
Like your own Ralph loop?
Yeah, ish. There is more efficiency than a Ralph loop, right? Like a Ralph loop is kind of like feedback on the order of go fish.
Right.
Like, please try again. That wasn't good enough. Please try again with some context. But we have a ton of context given everything we do for people from a CI pipeline perspective to say, oh, this error occurred. Here's some details. And often that is related to this kind of thing. Because, I say this all the time, but I keep having like two sides of the same conversation that are in tension for me. One, everyone's saying, don't worry about efficiency. Token cost is going to come down. Like we know how to industrialize things, et cetera, et cetera. And the other, speaking of going all the way back to the texts, every engineering leader is saying, how are you budgeting for this? We've already burned our budget. Like there was something head of Uber engineering said the other day that they've already burned their budget for 2026 and we're just into April.
I know.
Right? Like, so clearly efficiency matters,
100%.
right? If I can, and I look at our, as an engineering leader, I look at our leaderboards, not because I'm trying to figure out who's doing the work, but I'm saying these people appear to be doing about the same amount of work, and this person is spending 10 times as much as this person.
What the heck are you doing?
Yeah, like, can we just have a quick chat about how you're using the tool, right? Like these tools are super capable, but it's really easy to get runaway spend. Without, like, just on basic sort of decisions or choices that you make along the way.
So it's interesting you talked about kind of cost, because I've talked to a bunch of people on this show, and the only person who's talked to me about cost so far is Justin Riak, who's a CTO at DX. And he, I said to him, well, why don't we run like infinite loops in perpetuity until we get to the right outcome? And he was like, because it's too expensive. He had almost the same inclination or same response that you had. And I just thought it was very interesting, because I do feel like there's this high level pressure for folks who sit in your seat, where kind of your peers and your board are like, well, where are we on this AI thing? And then also, why is our spend so high? And just like those two things are quite in tension at this moment. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And so you have to make really good decisions about what you're going to build, ideally, that's going to drive growth, right? Because if you can grow, and that is what we're all here for, ish, right? Certainly if you're in tech, you're like, like the argument, the business case for R&D is always we're going to build things that are going to drive revenue, right? And so if we can build more of those things and drive more of that revenue, then we're okay, right? But there's always there's a lag, right? And so making the smart investments to kind of kickstart, right, to bootstrap up to that growth. On the other hand, again, when I look at the leaderboard, partly because I'm trying to figure out why I'm not at the top, like I keep trying and it's so far away, the top is so far away. And then that's what led me to say, wait a second, I'm literally like trying to burn as many tokens as possible, right? Everyone in my family knows they can't unplug my laptop, because then like it will go to sleep and it will stop working.
You're like, snooze never.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I've got the cord duct taped in. It's like anything that comes in as an unexpected cost, or something that we can't forecast, right? Something that's really moving significantly, and we believe there's return in the future, right? That becomes a difficult problem for leaders to navigate. But then saying, you know what, actually we used up all the budget, so everyone go back to like hand typing all your code, right? After we just talked about all these initiatives to get everyone, like you gotta be as AI native as possible. And you're like, oh, sorry, for the rest of the month.
It's like taking coffee away.
Yeah, everyone, you might as well just go home.
Just go home, guys.
Everyone just type.
We exhausted the budget.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky thing for people to navigate.
Are you hiring differently?
Yeah. We are much more interested in people's ability, like not just ability. It's a twofer, if you will. Like we need you to be excited and motivated by that, to be excited by the vision of who we want to be as a company.
Right.
And if you're excited and motivated by that, you're also excited and motivated to work differently, which is something we're looking for in terms of the people we're hiring. So, I think there's like some early screening that changes just in terms of what we expect people to be talking about, but then also how we do technical screens, right? Like we, not long ago, would have said, why are you looking up how to do that? I'm trying to see if you know how to do that. And I'm like, do I care if you know how to do that, right? I care if you can't tell the difference between something that was well implemented and poorly implemented, but you can solve for that by looking at it. You can also solve for it with testing, right? Like, do you know how to harness the capabilities of these tools to get great outcomes is a more interesting question than, can you hand code a linked list? I mean, I've hand coded some linked lists in my day and like, it's fine, but I just looked them up in a book. When I needed one, I was like, well, let me just make sure I get this right. You know what I mean? Like, why am I going to sit here, like turn off the internet and force myself to do it correctly? No.
It's like turning off the tokens.
Exactly.
We're not going to do it.
Exactly. Everyone go back to Vim.
I have to feel like we've covered it, Rob. Is there anything that you wanted me to ask you that I didn't ask you?
One thing that I think is, well, I guess I'll just say that I've been thinking about a lot is there's a lot of talk of constraints, right? Theory of constraints, optimizing process. Where's the bottleneck? Coding was never the bottleneck.
Justin also said value stream mapping to me.
Oh, I wasn't going to say value stream mapping.
Well, it's okay. It's been said.
Yeah. All right.
You know, theory of constraints.
Yeah. No. So, and one thing, like I haven't come up with great examples because I'm not an economist or a theorist, but at some point, yes, coding was not the bottleneck. But I think in organizations where coding is not the bottleneck, it's actually like a downstream, as in like later in time result of the fact that coding was the bottleneck. It was the most expensive thing we could do. So we built other processes to avoid the really expensive thing of coding. And we've fundamentally changed the cost, whether it's dollar cost, time, whatever, of building software so significantly that just questioning the steps in the process and deciding which one to optimize feels flawed versus saying, okay, this system actually evolved to deal with this most significant constraint, right? We have really dense, I mean, when I started in software, we were doing waterfall with like MRDs and PRDs and TRDs and like
PRD's back. Specs are back.
They are, but I mean, I really question whether that's going to be the place that we end up. So we had all these things to make sure that we were going to build the right thing. And then we realized that we were always wrong. No matter what we did, no matter how many documents we wrote, like I worked on a project that had 3 signature pages on the PRD, like 25 lines per page of people like vice presidents that had to sign off. None of them read the document. It was just a process where someone walked around and knocked on all their doors and got them to sign this. I mean, it's completely ridiculous. We're nervous about being wrong, and being wrong is expensive. Therefore, let's think more upfront, which is like, ironically, not where we were trying to go with Agile, right? Like lowercase Agile, like Agile manifesto, few people sitting around a conference table in Snowbird, you know, deciding how the software should work. Like we lost our way from there and got to coding is really expensive. How do we do less of it? How do we put these things in place in front of it? And now we've kind of got this opportunity to revisit that and say, like, if we're not sure which of these 3 things is the best, let's build all 3 and see how customers respond. And so I think we have a real opportunity to revisit the whole thing. I think many steps in the SDLC just disappear. We're seeing roles sort of morph and combine. Like, are you a designer or an engineer? It's right? Like, I might have a friend on my team who's better at design than me, and I'm going to ask them for ideas, but I'm not going to wait for them to draw it in Figma, right? Like we just don't do that anymore. We just build it, and then we go, oh, that should probably be over there. And you're like, cool, now it's over there.
And it's like, if they think that it's good but ugly, then they'll fix it.
What is the role of a designer in this world? Like, let's just get together in teams and see how they shape, you know? Like, and I think that's difficult for some people, and I get it. Like, some people like clarity and certainty and all that. But for me, you know, someone who's like entrepreneurial and just loves software and loves building, it's been really fun to just get a group of people together and be like, I don't know how we're going to work together. I don't know what your role is. I don't know what my role is. Like, just pretend I don't have a title. Pretend you don't have a title. Let's just work and see what happens, right? Because then we're going, like, there's these emergent properties of what works and what doesn't, which is, again, what I think Agile was meant to be. You know, technology, and I've said this a million times as a CTO, like, technology problems are just people problems, right? Like, at the end of the day, we can all figure out the technology. I think the spirit of Agile was great. And then we're like, cool, how do we turn that into a really rigid process so everyone knows how to do it? And like, the name is Agile, right? Like, maybe rigid process isn't the answer to how we can be agile. And so I think we need to bring a little bit of that spirit back right now. And I think we'll learn a new way of working, but I don't think we're going to plan that way of working. I think we're going to see it.
We're not going to invent it. We're going to live it.
Right.
And then we'll document it.
Yeah.
And then we'll make everyone else do it with our best practices.
And then we'll write it.
And then we'll write it down.
And then I'll be AI ways of working consultant.
Can't wait. I love that
Yes,
for you. That'd be
yes,
great.
that is my dream.
Rob, it's been a treat.
It's been awesome to see
Thanks
you,
for
Emma.
joining. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to We Built What? If you like what you heard, like, subscribe, share with a friend, share with an agent. If there's someone you think we should talk to, let us know. Reach out to us on LinkedIn or X. Catch you later.